Hey everybody, Derek here to bring another video for The Walking Dead countdown to the start of Season 6. I like that line better, so I'm going to start using that in my introductions. And what I'm going to do today is do a little video kind of making some early predictions of what's going to happen in Season 6. Part of this will be based on Scott Gimple's letter that he wrote to Talking Dead during the season finale. And the other thing is going to be based on the wolves and how they are going to affect season 6 and some of the things that may be associated with that. So I'm going to be talking about that. This could contain spoilers, so if you are not caught up with Walking Dead or you do not want to be spoiled in any way, this video may not be for you as I don't want to spoil anybody. Okay. So, what we have here is what Scott Gimple said in a letter, because he was originally supposed to appear on Talking Dead, but he couldn't. And here's what he wrote. He said, "For a good while now, humans have been the bigger threat. At the start of our next season, that will change. I've said before, the show reinvents itself every 8 episodes, and we're doing it again. Now that these characters know they have what it takes to survive, what are they going to do with that power? How will they choose to live? Beyond answering those questions, we're currently putting into motion some of our most ambitious stuff yet, and things are going to get very big, loud, and scary." So definitely a lot of things packed in there. And one of the things that it seems to indicate to me is that walkers are going to once again become more of a threat than humans. Um, or maybe it could be a combination of both, which will lend to what I discuss with the wolves. One of the things that we realized at the end of season 5, there was that after the credits scene where the wolves were able to obtain the photos that Daryl and Aaron left behind. So they know about the Alexandria safe zone now. Now the question is, do they know where it's at? And I'm going to assume right off the bat that the answer is no, that they don't know. Because if they did, I think they probably would have already made some kind of a move against it, and they wouldn't necessarily be looking at these pictures and going, "Oh yeah, this place, yeah, we've been meaning to hit that for months." No, I don't think they have any idea where this community is at. So that leads us to what exactly is the season going to be about. And what I did was I actually you know looked up a little bit about wolves and some of the characteristics about them. And I have here, generally wolves travel in packs of 5 to 11, sometimes as much as 40. Now, in the comics, as I stated in my recent video, well, maybe it wasn't so recent, but if you look, it says about the wolves on my videos, one of the videos that I made. You'll see that I said that the wolves, I believe, are part of the scavengers group, and I hold true to that. And in the comics, there is a group of scavengers led by a man named Derek, who basically find the community and want to be let in. And of course, spoiler warning, this is from the comics. Rick's group takes them out. They're just able to kill them because they weren't prepared for the sizable force that Rick's group is. So that may fit with what is going on here, because I don't think there's just 2 of them. In the finale we saw 2, but I think there's more than that. Where they are at, we can only presume that they are within the area. Because one of the things that you'll see later is about the territory of wolves, which I'll talk about in a minute. And it says here that they rarely adopt other wolves into their fold and typically kill them. So that's mostly what we see here with people that they come across. They don't invite them into the group and say, "Hey, yeah, come on in, you can be a wolf." No, they kill them. So that's a very big characteristic. They're humans still, but the fact that they've taken on this wolf persona, they don't take people in; they kill them. So that is something that seems to be very indicative of the kind of people that they are. That they're not out to group up with people and be friends. They're looking out for themselves and their own interests. And here it says, wolves are highly territorial. They establish territories far larger than they require, and they travel. So what that seems to indicate to me the nature of who these people are is that they basically, I think, see the entire world as theirs, and that they own it, that they're going to do what they can with it. You know how the guy said, that the wolves are back, after the humans came over back in, the settlers that came over from England and other countries whenever the Great Migration to the colonies was going on. He was talking about how that they killed all the wolves in the area, and now the wolves are back. So my perspective here is, they see it as we're taking back this world, and we're just going to make it whatever we want. And I believe that they do so using very, very drastic means. And as it says here, that they establish territories far larger than they require. Like we saw that they were back at Shireworld Estates. The way that they stayed there. I think they just move around from area to area and just do what wolves do. Which is to hunt prey, kill, and basically just treat the world as their own. As it says, wolves are highly territorial. They travel. They go from many different places. And I think that this is clear of what they do. I don't think that they necessarily stay in one place at a time. I think they're continuously moving around. And another thing here which I found interesting was wolves defend their territory by scent marking, direct attacks, and howling. Well, we've kind of already seen that the wolves do mark their territory, and I believe that's why some of the walkers out there that have the W on them, because you see that they keep a lot of them, but they also let some out. Like there's some that are out there, and you're like, well, why wouldn't you keep that one? I think that's to mark their territory. I think that's their way of saying, we were here, this is ours, and you guys can't have it, okay? We took it. We are marking our territory, and here's the proof. Back at Shireworld Estates, when you saw that those walkers, that probably were people that were cut in half, and like the heads and the torsos were in the truck with the W, I think that was their way of marking their territory. Of, hey, this is where we were. But when they spray paint that the wolves, that they're not far, what they're saying is that, hey, we're here, and this is what we did, and we're coming for you next, because this is what we do. We hunt. So I think that this is a very big characteristic of them, which I think that we're going to see that they embody a lot of what wolves do and say and how they behave. And I think that we will see this in the upcoming season. And I also found interesting how they hunt. The first thing that they do is they locate their prey, and I think that right now we've seen that they have the pictures, and that's going to potentially lead them to where this community is at. Another thought that I thought about was that they might, capture somebody and try to get the information from them. But the other possibility is the second characteristic about them is that they stalk. They conceal themselves and they observe prey, which is kind of what the scavengers did in the comics. They scouted out the area and found the community first and then made their play. They put a sniper up in the tower. They had everything set up. And I think the same thing might happen here, where they may not necessarily have to capture somebody. They may just, look around the area, be sly and sneaky, and they may end up coming upon the community, and then they go and report back to everybody, and then they make their plan. Now, the third characteristic about them is the encounter, and it's said that they make themselves known, and if the prey stands their ground, then sometimes wolves will ignore them, or they'll hold back, or they won't attack, but other times they'll think about, what they're going to do. They are strategists in a way. And you see that with a lot of predator animals where they work together in order to bring down their prey, like a big moose, things like that. They can take down those animals in the wild. And I think that this is very similar to what's going to happen like from the comics and from the TV show. That I think that eventually the wolves are going to want to, take the community, because that's just what they do. They're predators. They hunt, and they use whatever means capable of doing that. Part of me thinks that they probably have a lot of big weapons that they're going to use against Rick's group. How Scott Gimple said, big, loud, and scary. I wouldn't doubt that, maybe they do have some kind of grenades or a rocket launcher, heck, a bazooka, why not? Or some other form of, method of busting down a wall, or, inflicting harm inside, heavy firepower. Big, loud, and scary. You have to wonder if they do act like wolves and howl as well. I don't know. That may be a factor that is about them. That maybe they have some kind of call sign that could freak people out. I mean, let's face it, wolves are dangerous. I'm not gonna go walking into the forest and walk up and pet a wolf. I'm just not. And perhaps they may use techniques like that to instill fear in the groups that are nearby. So when you see wolves not far, that in a way is like their silent howl, kind of like hey, we're around, we're looking for you, we're in the area, just like what a wolf does. And who knows, we may see them howl, physically howling, in order to make their presence known. So I think that's a possibility there. And I think that what we're going to see here is that the wolves will try to attack the Alexandria community. I think that goes without saying, that will happen. And as a result, I think obviously they're going to lose. But what kind of an impact are they going to have? Because in the comics, the scavengers that come to the gates to come in, after they're killed, they use a lot of gunfire. Rick's group, they use gunfire to kill them, obviously. And they don't have silencers like they do in, the TV show, or if they do, they don't use them. Or, not just that, both sides were shooting. And, when you have gunfire, that's going to attract walkers. And I think that it's not going to happen that way necessarily. I don't think that the wolves are going to, be the cause of the walkers coming later. I think they're going to be the reason why the walkers invade the community. That might be a method that they use to take over communities, which is why I think that they keep the wolves, or the walkers there, because they want to use them for their own purposes. And I think that's why they do keep them and corral them, is because they use them in order to invade places. I mean, we did see that some walkers made their way into Shireworld Estates, and I think that there is a good chance that some of those walkers may have been used in the attack, or they just might have, come in there later on after the gates fell, after the wall fell down in Shireworld. But I think that the wolves are going to be the reason why Alexandria is invaded by walkers. And I think that is a story that does need to happen. One of the concerns that I have about Walking Dead is that when you get too comfortable in a certain place, you have the tendency of not being able to make as interesting of stories. And we kind of saw that with the prison, where, Rick's group was there at the prison. Yeah, there was a virus, there was an illness, but be honest, was that storyline better than the governor's, arc, where, the Rick and governor fighting back and forth, always on the move, always doing things? That, in my opinion, that was more interesting. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and I respect that. You may feel that the virus story was better, and that is totally good. There's nothing wrong with that. But one of the concerns that I have is you don't want things to get too, settled down to the point where you're doing like 2 or 3 episodes that are just like, hey, what do you want to do today? I want to go target shooting. Okay, let's do it. Let's teach all of you this. And, oh, we got to get the wall built up. So here, everybody get around here and, we'll build the wall up, and you and him are gonna fight about something. It's gonna get boring if it happens that way. So I think that the walkers invading the community are an absolute essential plot point that needs to happen. Now, the other thing that you have to wonder is how much will the wolves be involved with season 6? Because I don't think that they are a full season villain. I don't think that we're going to get 16 episodes of the wolves. I think that would be way too much. I think that'd be stretching it out too much. But I don't know if we're going to necessarily make it to the full 8 episodes with the wolves. I mean, the scavengers in the comics were not around very long. They were only around for a couple issues. And mostly they were used in a way to show the Alexandria community that there are threats out there. Whereas in the TV show, they kind of used the walkers invading the community because Gabriel left the gate unlocked, obviously, as a way to show that the place is dangerous. But I think that the wolves will help reinforce that. But I could see situations where, the wolves are planning their attack, and then it happens, and perhaps that the wolves do get killed, like in the comics, but that as a result, the walkers invade, or it could be the opposite. It could be that the walkers invade, and then after they take care of that problem, then they go deal with the wolves. It could go either way, and I could understand if they do the story either way. But I think that that's going to be the overall arc of the first 8 episodes. I'd be very surprised if we got too far into some of the other stories coming up, especially in volume 16. If you're aware of the story of the Hilltop, I don't think we're going to get to that in the first half of the season. I think that's going to be a second half idea. But I think that we're going to get some interesting stories out of the wolves. I think they will. There will be a confrontation between the groups. Somebody may end up dead as a result, and we may see that later on they're able to defeat the wolves. The community is obviously overrun by walkers, and they're able to take care of them just like they did in the comics. So those are my thoughts there, and I think that we have a decent idea of who these wolves are. But Walking Dead has always been able to throw twists in there, which I'm not aware of, what they're going to do, and I can't wait to find out. I think they have some good ideas with these people. So with that, I'm going to end this video, and I want to thank you all very much for watching. If you guys have any questions or comments, don't be afraid to leave them. Feel free to subscribe. I do have more videos coming. And if there are any suggestions that you would like to see, please do not be afraid to suggest. We have a while before Walking Dead, and I do want to stick around and do videos almost, the entire way through. I might have to take a break every now and then, to just let a little time pass, but I want to be able to, in a somewhat consistent basis, keep making videos. So if there are any suggestions that you guys have, don't be afraid to put them in the comments, send me a message. I do appreciate it. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and thank you very much for watching.